The ultimate goal as I left Wisconsin in early September was to journey to a meetup of Embassy RV owners that was happening in northern New Hampshire later on in the month. In this video, we've just reached that point. The event was hosted by Bruce and Marcia on their expansive property, which included lots of wooded acreage. It was intended to celebrate the Fellowship of Embassy RV Owners at a time that was expected to be peak fall color in New Hampshire. Excessive rain in New England this past summer was suspect as reason that didn't turn out to be. The delayed color didn't dampen the spirits of any of us, though, and I must confess that I didn't film much while there, preferring to just live in the moment with friends and not invade the privacy we had while there. Suffice it to say, Bruce and Marcia were exemplary hosts, and we enjoyed many activities and campfires. The days were warm and uncharacteristically sunny, given the otherwise wet and dreary period preceding our arrival, and the nights were very crisp, but not yet dipping below freezing. One activity many of us enjoyed was ATV tours of the property. Really fun driving an ATV, and they have a couple of really nice ones. I did film, or was filmed, on a couple of the tours and learned from Bruce some of the conservation measures they're taking to provide an inviting habitat for all sorts of wildlife, including bear and moose. ATVs are pretty loud, so some of the conversations we had on the ride are inaudible. Lots of what is inaudible was just chit-chat anyway, and the more important conversations were fine, especially when Bruce stopped to talk about stuff. Don't be frustrated by the inaudible parts. Just enjoy the tour, and believe me, you'll hear the good stuff. And the horrific tick stuff, which, trigger alert, could give you tick nightmares. Oh, and one more thing, if I may. The channel is getting really close to the 1,000 subscriber milestone. If you haven't already and you're enjoying these Joy en Route videos, please consider liking and subscribing. It would mean so much to me, so thank you. For those who have already subscribed, a special shout out to you. I truly appreciate all of you. Everybody meet Bruce. Hi. And Bruce is going to take us around for a tour of his property here. We're on a very cool ATV. We have another one of the Embassy Owners and Wannabes guests that's going to be driving along with us. And let's go. Let's see what we got here. I'll spin us around and we're off.
trees already. With all the rain we had, the ground was soaked. And I came out one day and the trees were tipped over to about 25 or 30 degrees.
Wow.
And from the ground.
Yeah.
Discovered bear claw marks and realized the bear cub was up there trying to eat, but his weight plus the weight of the apples on a soaked ground tipped 3 of the trees over.
Wow.
So I had to chain them back up again.
Yeah.
And normally I have crops planted out here for deer, bear, and turkey. I didn't have a chance to do that this year, but normally I've got clover, chicory, and some kind of brassicas planted out here for wildlife food.
Interesting.
said that this is a 1700s stone foundation according to town records, and I understand that one or two of the sons that grew up there went off to fight in the Civil War. I don't know their fate, but this was an old open pasture farmstead area, this whole hillside here.
Now it's filled in since then, huh?
Oh, I just opened this up with a forestry guy a few years ago up here. So that from a forestry management practice, what we did was we opened up the crown, the sky, saving mostly beech for the beech nuts and oaks for the acorns for wildlife feed. So by clearing out the other trees, it opened the sky so the crowns are growing, so we're getting more beech nuts and acorns. and also that whole thing will provide new growth in the spring. The part that's still attached provides new growth. So that's one of the techniques we're using there. And all of the down trees and stuff you see, while not park-like to the human eye, provides all kinds of nesting cover. It's left there deliberately.
Sure.
For ground nesting birds, ground nesting animals, and that kind of a thing. So it's great wildlife habitat.
Yeah.
Even though it's not pleasant to look at from the human perspective, it's a condo on the beach for the animals.
Yeah, right. It's natural. It's what happens if you're not here.
Exactly. Driving through them and being mired up to our axles.
Yeah, right.
So this is a classic case of my 10-year forestry management plan is at an end, and I'm going to be rewriting it next year along with the help of a knowledgeable forester to come in and pick areas to do some selective cutting so that you can allow more sunlight to the ground. This doesn't do much for wildlife here. So we want more sunlight to hit the ground to provide the natural forbs and growth, and you get blackberries and stuff initially to provide food and cover and that for wildlife. Awesome. So this is not very productive habitat here at the moment.
But it will be.
And it will be.
Yeah.
That's the next 10-year forestry management plan is to get that done.
Awesome. Yeah, I see that.
He said, oh, it's a nice spot for me to have lunch. He had to put it down somewhere, so we just arranged it in that fashion.
Yeah, perfect.
And it's a nice spot for me to sit and enjoy the scenery.
Right.
One, I didn't want to invest that kind of money, and two, I had two kids with ATVs, and I didn't want it to become a race course and have people smack up against trees.
Yep, totally get it. Looks like you had a down tree across the path that you had to cut out.
Yes, I did. I cut it up, hauled it out. It's now sitting in my wood pile waiting to get split next spring.
suppose as you're driving through, the animals are all like scattering the other direction.
Yeah, they're used to it to a degree.
Yeah.
So they're not particularly frightened. They're just running off a few yards and just sitting there and making sure that's what we're doing, what they think we're going to do. We don't particularly frighten them because they're used to it. And I'll show you some moose information here in a second. As soon as I make sure she's down and good.
Very cool.
Our moose population has been decimated in recent years by winter ticks, which actually sucked all the lifeblood out of them, and so it's actually killed our herd down pretty well.
Wow.
But now off to your right, you can see the marks in the trees. See how it looks like somebody's shaved some bark off the tree?
Yes.
Well, that's moose.
Interesting.
The moose will take their front teeth in the wintertime when they're hungry
Uh-huh.
and shave down the bark and eat the bark of those beech trees.
Huh.
So some folks think that the moose do that with their antlers. No, it's their front teeth. Scraping down the bark to get a little food, and it's all through the property from when we had a much bigger moose herd around.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have a couple of moose out here right now that I've seen on my trail cameras. But this was when the population density was higher. You can see it here, and you can see some over there as well, and it's all through the property. But that's probably 10 years old right there, or thereabouts.
How long do you think it'll take for the herd to rebuild?
I hope they do.
Yeah.
If the winter tick population gets cut down, they'll rebuild. My son and I have actually seen moose standing still in the spring, and it looks like their whole coat is moving.
Oh.
And it is. It's tens of thousands of these ticks moving around.
No.
It's surreal. It's creepy.
Oh, man. Anything you can do for them at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow.
Other than try to reduce the tick population, so there's not much you can do.
And you're thinking that the rains this year up in this area may be suppressing them now?
I don't know. We are not getting into the deer or dog ticks, which affects humans this fall at all. We'll get into them pretty heavily in the spring, but this fall I've been out here working now for the better part of 10 or 12 days to get ready for fall, clearing the roads and all that. And I haven't had a tick on me, so that's encouraging. I don't know how it's going to affect the winter ticks.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Just nature and its cycles.
Yeah. And in some of its brutality.
Yeah, nature can be pretty brutal.
Yep. Now, if the moose were to simply go and get in the water, would that kill them off, like drown them?
It's interesting you ask that. I don't know how it would affect those winter ticks. I know that I've had a black-legged deer tick on me, and in the past I've tried drowning it. I put it into our bathroom sink and caught its legs with the stopper at the bottom of the sink and filled the sink with water. Gone back to bed, and 6 hours later, taken the tick out, put it on the counter, and about a minute later it started walking.
Wow.
So I don't know if it would take care of the winter ticks or not. It won't take care of at least 6 hours submerged won't take care of the black-legged deer ticks. I don't know about anything else.
So I presume that you found like dead moose or other things out here as well?
Never found, well, I found some dead birds and some dead small animals. Never found a dead
awful lot of planning to get that right. Water's tricky to know exactly where it's going to want to go.
Yes, it is. So far, it's all worked wonderfully. The little holes you see on the side of the road were designed to be a water catchment system.
Yep.
To provide water for animals, as it rains, and also to be vernal pools for things like salamanders and frogs and all kinds of things in the spring, and to prevent any massive erosion. The water will fill up those pools and then go down through some of the drainage ditches on a much slower basis.
Sure.
So it's all in water management to prevent erosion.
Right. So I can't thank Bruce and Marcia enough for that awesome stay, the opportunity to get to know them better, and of course all the Embassy Fellowship. What's next? Well, I can tell you that what's coming next involves butter and shopping.